And now it's time to talk about the third C. Hope you're liking the concept of the 3 C's for your microphone message. It really helps to simplify the creation of your message, because lots of times when people go and they create any sort of marketing message, they just kind of create whatever they think is going to work without any real direction. But as you can see, we have 3 different distinct categories for you to choose from. The third one is core beliefs, and it's one of the most exciting of the 3. Because core beliefs are your secret to leading a movement, and it allows you to possibly sell without selling. So this is actually one of our biggest marketing secrets of all time. We discovered this a few years ago, and it helped us grow our following with people. Now we've got, like, I put 1 million fans. Now we're close to 2 million fans with our following. And it just keeps growing because it works. But it helped us grow our following. It helped us grow our movement of helping people differentiate their brands and their businesses, and helped us sell over 15,000 different courses. It helped us to do an event in January of 2020 before the world crisis, a live event for 7,400 people, which was amazing, down in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It tripled our marketing results. We literally feel that without core belief marketing as part of our arsenal, that we would probably be selling about a third of what we sell today, because it's just so powerful. And then it completely, of course, transformed the lives of many of our students. Many of our students have been inspired by core belief marketing and the power behind it, because it has worked so well for us and because we've taught the secrets to them. So I'm going to start off. Yeah, go ahead, Pedro.
Daniel, can you go back, please?
Yeah.
So just take a look at these points that Daniel is sharing with us. And one of the reasons that it has been working so well for us and our students, it's because once you change your core belief and the way it changes the way you see the world. We're just about to share this with you, right? But once you change your perspective of your life and of the world, the next thing you want to do is to get more people to join your new perspective. So one of the reasons that we have so many fans and so many students, and you see these results, and we totally don't mean to brag, we're just being totally honest with you, it's just because it works so well, not only for the person that's listening to you, but once they start to see the world, under a different light and with a different set of eyes, now they want to get their family, they want to get their friends, they want to get other people to see the way they see it. So this is one of the reasons, you have this snowball effect that it never stops once you get the ball rolling.
Exactly. And we actually, have you noticed the pattern with our social experiments? Well, guess what? We actually, to prove to you, because it was working so well for us, we wanted to prove to people through a social experiment the power behind how this works. So we actually funded a social experiment with RX bars. We didn't collaborate with RX bars. We just used RX bars as part of the social experiment. And I have a video that shows exactly what we did, exactly how we did things, and how by first presenting people with a core belief, it dramatically altered the results of how many people decided to purchase RX bars. Okay, so here's the quick video. Enjoy, and then we'll dive into the how, well, not the how-to yet, but more of the details about the core belief marketing aspect of things, so that if you want to choose a core belief as the category for your microphone message, then you can do so. So here we go, 3, 2, 1.
Over the past 5 years, my team and I have invested over $1.5 million in traffic from multiple sources, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We've tested over 1,000 ads, and during our tests, we noticed an important pattern. When we create advertisements that include lots of content and which expose our audience to new beliefs before trying to sell, our audience goes crazy. They sometimes get so excited that they start asking us to create and start selling them new products and services before we've even had the chance to come up with the new product names. This method works so well that we now live by the following rule. Don't sell initially your products or services. First, sell what we refer to as the core belief of a product or service. When you do this first, sales come easy, almost as if the sale is an obvious conclusion, a natural path people come to because they have started to believe the new core belief. This concept is so powerful and can increase your sales so dramatically that I decided to fund a research experiment that shows you exactly how core beliefs affect your audience and your marketing. For this research experiment, I decided to test the core belief of RX bars. RX bars are protein bars. The company was founded in 2013 by two friends in a basement in Chicago. They grew so fast that Kellogg recently bought the company for $600 million. These are RX bars. The core belief, the main reason why sales exploded, is pretty simple. Protein is important for your health. It helps you build muscle. It sustains hunger by helping you stay fuller longer. But what's even more important is that the protein you consume needs to come from real foods. So as you can see on the package of each RX bar, they proudly list their ingredients, showing that they are one of the few protein bars made from real food that everyone can understand. For the social experiment, I decided to test 3 groups of 150 people. The test for Group A was simple. I presented 3 participants with a quick 30-second pitch which showed the features and benefits of RX bars and included a picture of various flavors. In the pitch, I asked, if you were out shopping for food from 0 to 10 RX bars, how many would you buy for $3 each? The results? On average, the participants said they would buy 1.09 bars. But how would participants react when exposed to the core belief? So, in Group B, I showed 150 different participants a 2-minute video that exposed them to the core belief before giving them the same 30-second pitch. The video showed multiple informational video clips that talked about aspects of the core belief, but that never mentioned RX bars or protein bars, and that never tried to sell any other product or service. Would participants given the same pitch decide to buy more, less, or the same amount of RX bars? The answer is that from 0 to 10 bars, on average, participants said they would buy 60% more RX bars, an average of 1.7 bars per participant. These numbers already prove the power of core belief marketing, but we wanted to answer a new question with Group C. What if we exposed a new group of participants to even more information about the core belief? How would the results be different? So in Group C, we showed the same 2-minute video as Group B, but at the end gave them 1 additional minute of content that revealed 3 facts about the core belief. Once again, I never mentioned anything about RX bars or protein bars, and I made sure the content didn't try to sell any specific product or service. In other words, the content was purely informational. After the 2-minute video and additional minute of content, Group C participants were given the same word-for-word 30-second pitch that Groups A and B received. This time, on average, participants reported that they would buy 1.96 bars, which is an increase of 80% from Group A. This is one of the most exciting parts of the experiment because it proves my team's original hypothesis. The more you expose your audience to the core belief, the more they will be willing to purchase your products and services when they are finally given a chance to buy. If 3 minutes of core belief content can increase sales 80%, what if your audience watches 5 or 10 minutes of core belief content on average before buying? The coolest thing is that this type of content is almost always welcome. It also leaves your audience thankful and makes them want even more. This is because when you create advertisements in the form of content that exposes your audience to new core beliefs, you'll start to see that they like and share your content much more than when compared to normal ads. Also, they are much more likely to buy. And we wanted to take things one step further and prove this in the experiment. So, with a smaller group of participants, Group D, we wanted to prove that exposure to core beliefs generate real-life sales. Group D was compensated for their participation in the research study to make sure they had cash on hand to buy an RX bar. They were then shown the same 3 minutes of content as Group C. Afterwards, we gave them the chance to purchase their choice of flavor of RX bars for $3. 53% of participants in Group D purchased a bar, even though 84% of them had never before heard of RX bars. The big lesson here, exposing your audience to core beliefs dramatically increases your sales, even in real life, face-to-face sales situations. We've estimated we sell at least 3 times as much since we have started to structure our marketing based on core beliefs, and our hope is that you too are now inspired to do marketing a better way. Start structuring your marketing today based on core beliefs, and you too can also see a large increase in sales.
Woohoo! All right.
Wow.
So go full screen for a second here. That was an in-depth, probably the most in-depth. Well, we've done a few social experiments. It was in depth. It took some time. But as you can see, we proved with content that wasn't selling, that didn't mention any product or service, we presented that content to people, and it nearly doubled the sales. Just 3 minutes of content nearly doubled the sales for the RX bars in the experiment.
That's
Pretty
amazing.
powerful stuff.
No, that's amazing, because there's something called cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens when I believe something, but I act in a different way. So it hurts. It hurts. I can't sleep. I can't, have a normal life because something is bothering inside of me. So once I start to understand something that I didn't before, now when I look at my life, I question, are my acts aligned with the way I think? That's what we want, right? We want this congruence in our lives. Everybody wants that in different levels. So once you listen to Daniel and you understand that concept between honest protein bars, it's just stupid if I go out and I start buying, because every time I look at the packaging and the packages of different bars, I look at them like, oh, you're so full of BS. Come on, you're not doing that to me, right? You're just like, oh my gosh. So I just feel stupid. I feel stupid if I'm still purchasing from these guys. Even though it tastes good, I feel stupid. So what we want is congruence. And once you change the belief inside people's minds, they just have to align their acts and their deeds to with the way they think. And that happens if you can do that with soap bars like Dove does. You can do that with protein bars like RX bars does. You can do with anything. Daniel, that's so cool.
Yes, you can do it with anything. It was really interesting because it was a little over 6 years ago that I started working with Pedro, and we eventually stumbled upon this concept, and we realized that once we eventually started selling the X Factor Effect course to so many people, that people were basically buying it as a consequence of a belief. Now that belief, the big belief that we share with people around the world is that in order to become a market leader, in order to become a category king, and in order to avoid price wars in your industry, you have to differentiate your business. So once people agreed with that, they were like, okay, so I need to be different, and now I need direction on how to be different, so I need to buy this course. It just came as a natural consequence, and that's why the X Factor Effect and our 9 pillars that we teach people has taken off so well, because we first focus in on the belief. So if you don't want to get quote unquote brainwashed, but not really brainwashed, because we don't do that type of thing, by Daniel and Pedro, then you should stop following us on social media, because every day we are selling the beliefs behind the X Factor Effect that lead towards the path that, yes, you do need to be different in order for you to break through. So.
And another example we're going to be mentioning later is the iPhone, and how Steve Jobs and Apple were able to change the core belief of what a smartphone is supposed to be. And like, once you listen to him saying, you know what, this plastic keyboard is there whether you need it or not, you never stop to think about that, right? That was the first time you're like, you know what, that is true. So something clicks in your mind. And then you can't call smartphones that had plastic keyboards a smartphone anymore. So just by listening to Steve Jobs' presentation, everything changes. And as Daniel is saying, the natural progression, the next step is, I need an iPhone. So really powerful stuff. Get ready.
Because people want to avoid cognitive dissonance. If something's not congruent in their new belief system, then it bothers them on the inside, just like Pedro said, and they look for ways to be congruent with their new beliefs. And that's why, exactly, perfect, Pedro. This is why psychologically speaking, this is the most powerful thing that we have stumbled upon, this core belief marketing concept that's helped so many people. Now, as you can see, it's completely different. And let me share the screen again. It is completely different, the approach from the other two categories. Now, the other two categories we proved with everything in the previous videos that they work. The convincing calls to action and the central concepts, they're amazing. And you might still at the end of all of this decide, oh, I'm going to create a convincing call to action or a central concept. But there's also a good chance here, depending on your goals, that you're going to be choosing a core belief as your next microphone message. So here we go. Here are the three main characteristics so that we can categorize core beliefs a little bit better. The message causes a major paradigm shift, meaning it causes the audience to start to view aspects of life in a different way. Now, it doesn't always have to be like this huge, amazing paradigm shift. Sometimes it's just like a really big aha moment, but you get the idea. It shifts the way they view the world. Also, the message is internalized by the audience. Not only do they start to see things a different way, but they internalize that new belief in such a way that they want to change the way they actually do things. Like Pedro said, when I presented, because Pedro wasn't familiar with RX bars, now he actually, because of everything that we studied in order to put together the social experiment, now whenever he looks at the back of a protein bar and it's full of all those ingredients that you have no idea what they are, it's like, oh man, maybe I really shouldn't eat this because I actually do know that my protein should come from clean sources.
Exactly. Right? It's like I'm lying to my mom. I'm not being honest, you know? Like, oh my gosh, really? I know I'm not supposed to do that. Plus, the weirder the name of the ingredient is, the angrier I get. Oh my gosh, you guys are lying to me. If you Google different names for sugar, you're gonna be blown away.
Oh yeah.
They are like 50 different ingredients and different technical names they came up for sugar, for different types of sugar. So, you know, like it's sugar free. Yes, it has no sugar, but it's got this 37 different things that are pretty much sugar, but under a different name. So that's, you see, it's like going against what you believe. It drives you crazy, you know, and pretty much they are the only ones to do that. And once that's going to happen to you, once you do that, people are going to copy you. People are going to model you, right? People are going to start, you know, because they see your success, and they want to copy you. And that's okay. That's part of being a leader. But just keep in mind that once you do that once, you can do it again and again. And there are subsets of beliefs, but we're going to be talking about that later.
Oh man, this is deep stuff. And that's why it's so powerful. That's why this is advanced as well. So if you feel like this is a little bit, you know, too advanced for what you need, you know,
that's okay. Just follow along.
You still have the other options for your microphone message. But here we go. The third characteristic, the message is strong enough to lead a movement. So what do I mean by that? So these are the two friends that started the RX Bar company, and their core belief is that real foods with simple ingredients is what you should be consuming with no BS. And they actually grew so much and were able to sell their company to Kellogg for so much money because they basically started a movement through that type of protein bar. And they started to first attract people into their world and start selling RX bars because they would approach all of the CrossFit gyms that already believed in things such as the paleo diet. And they already have that belief that your protein sources and other foods should come from natural sources. So they piggybacked off of that belief that already existed, and they started to grow a movement behind now there actually are multiple protein bars, copycats, like Pedro was mentioning, of RX bars, where they started to create protein bars that is just all simple ingredients that everybody can understand, because the belief and movement to have your protein come from clean sources took off so well. So there you go. It has the power to lead of movement. This is Kevin Clayson. I did an interview with him. He is the author of the book Flip the Gratitude Switch. Great book if you're looking to show a little bit more gratitude and be a little bit happier in your life. But he has a core belief for his book and has started to grow a little bit of a movement as well. His core belief is, with a little applied effort, happiness can be found today through gratitude. Or in other words, the secret for you to become happier in your life is for you to simply be more grateful in life. Wow, okay, that's interesting, right? The key to happiness is to be more grateful, and he actually goes and proves it, and through the book, and he actually goes and gives speeches and changes people's lives because they end up becoming happier as they flip the gratitude switch, being more grateful in their life. The results for him, he's constantly speaking at events, doing podcasts, he's been in the news, etc. The book has become a bestseller. At one event that he was invited to, an event for Hal Elrod's followers with over 1,500 people. Hal Elrod, if you remember, is the author of the Miracle Morning book. But so at one of Hal's events, 1,500 people left with copies of his book, and he is leading the hashtag Gratifuel movement. Okay, so he has a methodology in the book for you to power up your day with Gratifuel so that you can become a happier person. Great stuff. Now, there's examples as well in politics. And now, does this ring a bell? Does anybody, do you remember? There was a 1962 speech that had a simple goal. It was to persuade Americans to support the Apollo program. Okay, it's a little bit of a Jeopardy question here. What speech are we talking about? All right, 3, 2, 1. The answer is John F. Kennedy's speech about going to the moon, about making it to the moon before everyone else. Now, you might be thinking, okay, what's the belief then, Daniel? What's the core belief behind that speech? Well, here's a quick couple of paragraphs from his speech, and you will understand really quickly the core belief behind this speech. He said, "We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won, and they must be won and used for the progress of all people. For space science, like nuclear science and all technology, has no conscience of its own. Whether it will become a force for good or ill depends on man, and only if the United States occupies a position of preeminence can we help decide whether this new ocean will be a sea of peace or a terrifying theater of war."
Whoa.
Also, he said, "We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too."
Oh my gosh.
Goosebumps. Goosebumps, Pedro.
Goosebumps. Oh my gosh. They're like, we could do a whole video just analyzing this single part here of his speech. It is amazing, an amazing example of how to use rhetoric and how we can present and prove our reasoning and our idea in a way that can be proved. So we have to remember the context That was back in the 60s, right? Cold War was going on. And people were afraid of the Soviet Union. And they thought, they knew there was a real chance that was positioning as a threat of the Soviets taking over, right? So, and man, he's brilliant, and his team, of course, right? He was JFK was known by writing personal notes and customizing his speeches by hand. And other presidents, they don't. They just read off the sheet, right, of paper. And he was famous for that. So he was brilliant because he said, you know what? There's an opportunity here. And the next realm that we can go after is the space. Someone is going to take that position. Notice he's not mentioning the Soviets.
Yes.
At all, right? There's a chance, and science has no consciousness. We just got off 20 years ago. We just ended World War II. Look what the Nazis did with people. They had technology. They didn't have a moral compass, though. So they did horrible things, right? So again, the context. Science has no conscience. Someone is going to use science. So if we want freedom to prevail, we have to be there. The United States has to take that. But it's not going to be easy. I have to tell you, it's going to be tough. But we don't have to do that. Guys, we don't have to do that. But are we really willing to let other people go there and take over that spot? Right? So that's pretty much a translation of the speech. So when he said, Daniel, and if we watch the movie, when he says, we choose to go to the moon, that was it. He was supposed to say that only once. But people cheered so loud and they were so excited. He was almost surprised, if you watch the movie. He was like, whoa. And then he repeated it again. We choose to go to the moon. And people they cheered even louder. Oh, yes. Because you know what? We don't have to do it. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do. So you see how powerful it is when we appeal to people's positive emotions, hope, right? There's hope. We can expect the best. We can outdo ourselves. We can do more than other people are doing. So this is just so amazing, so thrilling, man. I'm sad we weren't born at that time to watch that live, but I'm glad we have YouTube and we can watch it now.
And I did a good job repeating his words, right? No.
Yes. Amazing.
Not even close. No, but as you can see here, this is just another example of core belief. What's the core belief here? Well, like Pedro said, that little part, space doesn't have a conscience of what's good or what's evil. And so it's up to us to get there first, or hopefully, right? So that we can decide if this new frontier called space is going to be used for something that's good or something that could possibly be evil. And of course, everybody assumes that he's saying, yes, we're trying to get there first so that we can use it for good. And so that was the core belief. That was what got people to agree to basically increase their taxes, because he needed, through the speech, for people to vote to be able to raise additional funds. People needed to willingly pay more taxes so that the United States could be first up to the moon. That was the goal of this speech. And because of a strong core belief, he was able to do so. Very, very powerful stuff. Now, this goes, it works in politics, as you can see, extremely well. People willingly paying more taxes. And it's also worked for one of the most powerful and lucrative sports companies in the world, Nike. And I have a rare treat for you to watch the first Just Do It commercial. You ready for this? It was put out in 1988. His name is Walt Stack. In the video that you're about to see, he was a famous long distance runner. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
run 17 miles every morning. People ask me how I keep my teeth from chattering in the wintertime. I leave them in my locker.
Oh man,
So cool, so simple,
so
right?
cool.
People ask me how I keep my teeth from shattering in the morning, running 17 miles every day. I leave them in the locker.
So you see, it's got humor, it's got inspiration, and it's got, you know, just good taste. You know, there's the right mix between both. And the thing, the question that stands at the end is, what are you going to do? You know, you don't have to, you're not 80. You don't have to run during winter, right? You don't have, you know, to leave your teeth in the locker. So what are you going to do? So cool, so cool. And there was the transition between performance-based communication and inspiration-based communication.
Yes, exactly. And you're about to see, I'm going to show you a graph here in a second for how much that helped increase sales. But let's talk about this, the belief here a little bit more. Just do it. How Daniel and Pedro is just do it a core belief. Well, very simply stated, it helps people remember that there is an athlete in all of us that can get out there and compete and succeed. You can just go out there and do it. You can be the warrior that goes out there and competes. Okay, the message is empowering, but also doesn't make any promises. It's not saying that you're going to be a winner. Okay, it's not saying that you're always gonna, you know, beat out your competition, but you can go out there, you can compete, and you can be that athlete. Okay, and Nike's commercials remind us, because this was just the first of many Just Do It commercials. That go on YouTube if you want to watch, and all day, every day, there's tons of Just Do It commercials that can be equally inspiring for you to watch. But Nike's commercials remind us that our dreams are possible, but they will likely require a lot of hard work and personal sacrifice. 17 miles a day. He turned running 17 miles per day, leaving his teeth in the locker. He turned it into something inspiring. Okay, so our dreams are possible, but yes, we still have to go out there. We still have to fight for our dreams. So just do it. Extremely powerful core belief. And check this out. So in 1987, the year before this commercial was launched, as you saw, it was launched in 1988. From 1987 to 1997, there was a 10x growth in revenue for Nike. 10x growth. That is amazing. And it was right when this core belief came out, this slogan, and Nike continued to ride that wave and use that slogan to empower people for many decades. Okay, so let me see here. Oh yeah, there we go. So $877 million in sales versus $9.6 billion in sales in 10 years. Whoa, how would you like that type of growth in your business?
10x.
I'll take that. I'll take that. All right, so here's some more quick examples. In 2005, P90X was struggling to sell because they were viewed as just another weight loss program until they started to test things through their infomercials and discover finally their core belief. As part of their core belief, they talked about the plateau effect, where people in workout programs, they usually start one, they lose a little bit of weight in the beginning, and then their results kind of stop or they don't grow as high. And they explained in the infomercials that this is because your body gets used to the exercises that you are doing on a daily basis. And in order to avoid the plateau effect, you need what they refer to as muscle confusion. This was the big belief. This was what really got P90X to take off. When they introduced muscle confusion for the first time in their infomercials, all of a sudden, the infomercial started to sell a lot more. And they were like, whoa, 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 what just happened here? And that helped, that one core belief started getting sales to pour in and turned the P90X program into a program that eventually sold over $1 billion. A workout program that sold $1 billion. Are you kidding me? And why? What was the difference? It was when they figured out the core belief to use in their communication that helped explode their results. Where else have we seen this? We've mentioned Dove already. Dove in 2004, they started the campaign for Real Beauty, but what they started with these billboards. For example, this was one of the first billboards that asked people if they believed the woman was flawed or flawless. But then soon after, they launched a video called the Dove Evolution video. I'm going to show it to you right now. And when this video went viral, that's what really solidified this new core belief for Dove. Okay, so let's watch that video and we'll understand even better Dove's core belief that helped them also sell billions of extra dollars worth of products. Oh my goodness. How about that for changing beliefs?
Wow.
No wonder our perception of beauty is so distorted, is what Dove's message was. But the core belief, your appearance should not be a source of, sorry, back up. Your appearance should be a source of confidence, not anxiety. Because what? Society is painting a false narrative, a very false narrative of what beauty is supposed to be. And in fact, it's so false that it's falsified. They showed that not only did they take this woman who already looked beautiful, but tried to make her look perfect to get the perfect shot. But once they had the perfect shots, then they turned that photo into an alien version, a more falsified version of the same lady, so that it could be finally used in the advert. Very deceiving. And this core belief. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Daniel, are we talking about Dove in the next slide?
I just have the results, yeah.
Okay, so let me just say something really quick before we change gears. Humankind needs guidance, and it's very deep, very some serious deep things, right? Deep stuff. A lot of people, the vast majority of people, is lost. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. So we turn to brands and companies to tell us what to do. That's why brands have such social responsibility, even if they are not aware of that. They do have a huge social responsibility. So when you elevate the discussion, you detach yourself just from selling stuff. We say this all the time. Companies sell stuff. They sell products and services. Brands, they sell beliefs and they sell values, right? So what Dove is doing is taking the higher road. What Dove is doing is saying, you know what? The discussion shouldn't be about what the best product is. It should be, why are we using these products in the first place? How are we using these products? How are these products and this perception and this pressure impacting our youth? So you see, when you elevate the discussion, everything changes. And because people are looking for guidance, they're looking for a leader, you can beat that brand. You can be the leader. You can be someone that's going to take the discussion to a whole different level, to a whole new, different realm, you see? So think about that. Think about how a lot of times, you know what? In here, it felt weird saying that. It felt weird selling that. But I thought, you know what? It's just business. No, it's not just business. A lot of times you have this new idea, you have this new perception, you have this new way of thinking that a lot of people, they're looking for that. They just never knew you had the answer. So changing the belief entails bringing the conversation to a different level. And that's what Dove is doing. And that's what Nike did. And that's what the biggest brands in the world do, you know? So again, elevate the discussion and help us see how we were being small. We were thinking small and we were worrying about something that now looks obsolete, and we can have a deeper conversation.
Perfect. And this proves so many things. The interesting thing to me, Pedro, and I'm going to show the results here in a second, is that so many people think that they need to follow a direct response approach to selling, that they need to force products and services upon people, that they need to sell hard, and that they need to falsify things in order to make sales. But that's just not true, because Dove has one of the most successful marketing campaigns of the past 20 years. In fact, it is #1 on multiple lists as the most profitable, most effective campaign. And it's not a direct response campaign. It's all about the belief. What has this done for Dove? Well, Dove has now become an important symbol of confidence. Customers are loyal to the brand because of what it represents. Okay, because so it's not just the product or service. It's about what the Dove symbol means to those women using those products or services. And since the launch of the campaign in 2004, Dove has been able to increase sales from $2.5 billion worldwide to over $4 billion per year worldwide. So an extra bump of $1.5 billion per year, that's pretty dang good for a campaign that is selling a belief. And that's why this is so powerful. Okay, so core beliefs. Summing things up, we mentioned these just so that you remember. Core beliefs: the message causes a major paradigm shift, or at least a big aha moment. The message is internalized by the audience in such a way that it shifts their beliefs and changes their behaviors, and the message is strong enough to lead a movement. Here are the pros if you decide to choose the category of a core belief as your next microphone message. This type of message generally creates the highest levels of engagement with your audience. Your message can sell without selling, like we showed through our social experiment, and like we've done with many of our products and services, and like Dove has done with their most successful campaign of the past 20 years, according to multiple sites. And your message can be powerful enough to build a tribe and or lead a movement, just like we've been able to do, Dove has been able to, Nike has been able to do, all these companies have been able to do. Is it easy? We're not saying it's easy. No, it's not easy, but you can pull it off. It is extremely powerful. Now, there is a big thing that you should look out for. It might take time, okay? This is a long-term strategy. This isn't something that, you're going to launch it tomorrow and then all of a sudden you have results like Dove. No. Far from it. This is long-term snowball effect. Build things up so that eventually one day you're viewed as the market leader who has built this huge, amazing movement, and people are like, well, how did they do it? Well, it's because it took you a few years to do it, okay? So this isn't something that's fast. If you're looking for results today, maybe you need to go for a convincing call to action, right, as your next microphone message. But if you're looking to build a real brand and a real movement, then core belief marketing strategy is a great option for your next microphone message. All right? So will you choose to create a core belief as your next microphone message? That's the question. And here are some quick questions in order to finalize things in this video. What movement have you followed in the past because of strong core belief? Maybe you consume RX bars, or maybe you use Dove products because of their core belief. So what movement have you followed because of a strong core belief? What is the root cause of your audience's pains that nobody is talking about? Think about the Flip the Gratitude Switch book and how that book talks about that the real cause of people's unhappiness is the fact that they're not being grateful. Okay, very interesting. And what is a current worldview that is hurting your audience and that needs to change? Think about how Dove is exposing the falsified ads that are going on in the beauty industry and how that's hurting women overall. Also, what ideas do you have that are strong enough to create a core belief? All right, so sit down with by yourself or with your team, hash out the answers to these questions, and that will better prepare you for the launch of your next microphone message. And we've got more steps. This is just the beginning of the process. So we will see you in the next video. All right. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Marketing Podcast Party. Please share this episode with your friends, family, and business partners. Also, remember that the party continues with your free copy of the Ideas That Influence book and interactive box experience. I wrote the book and created the box experience to help you with even more wildly successful marketing ideas. Head on over to bigideasbox.com to grab your copy. You'll get your copy for free. You just pay shipping and handling. Once again, that's bigideasbox.com for your free plus shipping copy of Ideas That Influence. I'm Daniel Din. This is the Marketing Podcast Party, and I'll see you in the next episode.